Go.
Hey, welcome Monday Movie Club. The This week we watched one of Joel's suggestions, 1978's The Cheap Detective. I'm Frank Gaffney. Here with me is Joel Fenster, or Natasha Fenster as it says.
Oh.
Mark Wotitzgartner, Amy Goldman, Annie King is in Hawaii. She's supposed to join us, but there's a time difference. She might think it's later or earlier. So she might just pop in at any moment. And special guest, Neil Simonite, Jeff Liskin. I would say you're a Neil Simonite, wouldn't you?
I am, though this is the first time I ever saw this film.
Get out of town. Joel, I always start with this question, but I know the answer. Why did you pick The Cheap Detective?
And if you know the answer, you tell me what it is.
Because you like to torture us.
Yes, that's exactly the reason why.
No, because it's one of your favorite comedy movies.
I saw this film
1978.
Probably not in seven. Did I might have seen it in the theaters. I don't know. I came to Neil Simon by way of Murder by Death, which I thought was hysterical. I loved that as a kid, and I still find it to be a funny movie, even though some of it's a little bit
racist.
Yes.
What's the word? Gay?
This is very much a companion piece to that. It's not as racist, but there's some jokes that they don't play as well as they might have at one point.
As they did at one point.
Yeah.
Sure, but it played gangbusters.
Yeah. But that's really it. I find it a funny film.
Okay, well, Roger Ebert said, if you love the Maltese Falcon and can recite all the lines of Casablanca by heart, then you're going to hate The Cheap Detective.
Yep.
Which is basically just the year's most expensive ripoff. Saying that this is a ripoff is missing the point entirely, obviously. It's a comedic take, a parody, if you will, a humorous tribute even to those movies. And so it is Neil Simon, of course, Neil Simon obviously came from TV, where he wrote all these little sketches for various shows, the big one being Sid Caesar, right? And this is exactly that. It's a sketch. It's got an astounding array of well-known faces doing their best to be funny in the midst of what I think is one of Neil Simon's weaker efforts. And it's a kind of sequel to Murder by Death because it's the same sort of, don't you think, Joel? It's kind of a...
It's more, a parody of those specific films and film noir than the murder mystery genre. Murder by Death is
but we got a little murder mystery here as well.
Yeah, but it's got I think 3 of the same actors in it. Am I right, Joel?
Well, you've got Peter Falk, Eileen Brennan, James Coco, James Cromwell.
So a few of the same.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your cat is like
unbelievable.
Okay.
It's like nibbling at her earrings.
Yeah, welcome to the Cringer Show. It really, for me, it's just a TV sketch that goes on way too long, and it's not a great sketch at all. The plot is, serviceable, but it was like he didn't even put that much effort into it. And I can't even call it a comedy. I think I was smiling a little bit, but there's lots of one-liners, wacky situations, and mostly relying on this cast. And if you're of the era I'm of, you recognize every single person in this movie: Peter Falk, Madeline Kahn, Tom DeLuise. All 3 are the MVPs of this movie for sure. But there's also Louise Fletcher, Anne Margaret, Eileen Brennan, Stockard Channing, Sid Caesar, and Marsha Mason, who obviously did her husband a favor by showing up. Because she's like, Marsha Mason is in this movie? But such a waste of all the talent gathered. And I actually watched this one last year when I was trolling Joel's list of 100 favorite films for the worst movies ever made on a series I called Bad Movies We Love. And it's just silly. And the even at 92 minutes,
Too
I
long.
wrote, the movie fizzles like a glass of stale champagne. Isn't that nice? I liked it. So 2 stars for me. This is easily the worst movie we've watched in the whole year and a half we've watched movies.
Oh, come on.
And I
The
am
Phantom
including,
Menace.
and I am including Edward Norton's Hulk in that list. It
Wow.
really was. I
And
was like,
Flash
oh,
Gordon?
Flash Gordon had some campy fun in it. This was not
Some
fun.
funny lines in it. Oh my God. I'm
Well,
out.
You'll get your chance, Amy. You'll get your
exactly. I'm giving it 2 stars.
Oh, there we
Go ahead, Aim. You want to rebut? Butt away.
go. Let me look at my notes. I did when I was reading the cast, because I don't think I ever saw it either. I heard of it. And when we first were talking, when it was first on the list, I was thinking it was like a 1940s or 50s movie. And then when I saw it was 70, I was like, oh my God, it's that movie. But I never saw it. But as I was reading the titles with the cast, I thought, if anybody ever said anything funny pre-1978, they were thrown into this movie. It was great. I thought the cast was great. And you mentioned Louise Fletcher. I thought she was amazing.
Yes, yes.
Mason. She blew it away. And Lorenzo Lamas, this was the first time I'd ever seen him do anything. All I knew him from, besides, Fernando Lamas. Lorenzo.
I was like, Lorenzo Lamas was in
Yeah.
that?
I just knew him from Lorenzo and from Billy Crystal. You look marvelous.
You look marvelous.
Yeah. I thought he was terrific. It was fun seeing people like that doing such comedy. Let's see what else I actually wrote. I wrote, what is this? The opening crawl, I thought that was very cute, followed by a few clouds and gradual, a big smile. And the story, the next one, then it said that has nothing to do with this movie. That was very cute. But I did think for every stupid Neil Simon thing, because he can be pretty bad, as much as I love Neil Simon, especially 1970s Neil Simon. But for every stupid thing like Betty DeBoop, there was a great line like, would you care for some Greek kazarai? Now, for the non-Jews here, Mark, kazarai is a Yiddish term for junk. It just means what, like, the room is a mess. What, pick up this kazarai. And when he said Greek kazarai, loved it. Thought that was very cute.
Okay.
And does $500 interest you? Yes. Well, then bring it. It's an expensive restaurant. Didn't see that line coming. A big smile. I also didn't laugh during the movie, but there were some big smiles. Oh, and Frank, you'll get this, because a lot of times when Frank and I will say something, it'll be like, so I says to him, I'm like, and then in the movie, so would it be possible to meet to discuss the missing items, shall we say, so to speak, if you will? And Frank, you just did this when you were introducing the movie. You did that exact thing. Love that. Totally thought of you and our shit. Loved a little, I saw the Maltese Falcon once 20 years ago, and Casablanca, same thing, when I was watching all my classics. So
We actually went to the movies to see Casablanca.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. And you went, eh.
I think I like the Maltese Falcon better. So there was a lot of parody that I didn't get, of course, but I got all the big things. And when she said, what was it? You know how to dial, just put your finger in the hole. That was adorable, I thought. And then there was the very cute one gin sling, Brandy. Oh, that's his name. That
Right, the Asian guy.
Yeah.
that was very funny. But then Neil Simon, typical Neil Simon, he repeated the joke, and then it was overkill at the end with the Schnell and the Kvicker. It was the exact same joke. We didn't need to hear that joke again. Peter Falk, I don't know that I had even really ever seen him. I think we've all seen clips of Columbo, but I was too young to watch it. First of all, he was quite good looking in this movie. And I thought he was great and had some really good line readings. Loved him. And that is pretty much it, except I'm sure you read the credits, but did you know that the cab driver who came in with the eggs was Jonathan Banks?
I just found that out.
Yeah. And I knew one of them was, and I thought when I read cab driver, he was the first cab driver I read in the credits. So I thought he just played all of them. And then when he came in, I was like, oh my God, that's Jonathan Banks.
Same, Amy, same thing.
So I'm actually going to give it 3 stars. I enjoyed it.
Mr. Pliskin, do you agree?
Solid 3 stars. First time seeing it, I'll admit that the second half, I just sort of ceased trying to follow the plot line.
Yeah, I
or,
thought that was just
I
me.
just
I'm glad
kind
it
of I
wasn't.
just kind of gave up on it. It's
Yeah.
like it's deliberately just convoluted.
Yeah.
But I laughed out loud a lot at just the pure silly gags. And you guys have not mentioned the one person who I've seen in many things, totally deadpan serious, who not played it for guffaws, but just played in a comedy, was John Houseman. I thought he was like, it was refreshing to see him not taking himself so seriously, which he usually does. So,
Yeah, I loved him
just
too.
a lot of the funny lines that you guys mentioned, I thought were, I just laughed out loud. I was surprised to hear, because I've watched a lot of the sketches from your show of shows. They don't put credits at the end of them, so you don't know if it was Mel Brooks or somebody else. But I associate Neil Simon more with, I don't know, just a more of a flow of humor than kick him in the balls kind of joke lines like you would see in Airplane or something like that. But there were a lot of those sort of silly plays on words, like the one I thought one of the funniest things was the gin sling thing, where it was the guy's name, and just those kind of plays on words and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I was getting bored by the end of it, but a lot of the humor I thought was just pure silly fun. So yeah, I give it a solid 3.
Mark, can you please agree with me?
No, that's not going to happen.
I
I'll start off by saying I liked it. I'm also at 3 stars, but 5 minutes into the movie, I was like, oh, I know Frank's hatred of Clue. He's absolutely going to hate this one too. So I call that. To me, it was like Clue meets Murder by Death meets Top Secret meets The Naked Gun. It was a little too silly with some of the one-liners and gags, but otherwise, I thoroughly enjoyed. And I mentioned, you already mentioned the opening crawl. I was going to say that. Eileen Brennan was all over these movies. I guess she was in 3 out of those. So I enjoyed some of that, seeing the same actors being in a lot of the movies I just mentioned. I don't have anything else to add. Joel, I will, unlike Frank, I'm actually glad you picked it, because this is the first time I had ever seen it. To be honest, I'd never heard of it. And I do need to go back now and rewatch Murder by Death, because I saw that when I was a kid, maybe like 12 to 15 or something like that. So I haven't seen it since then. So I would definitely want to, and I remember laughing at it, but I'm sure it'll be different now as a 47-year-old.
You might want to wait until 2023, because Joel will put it on the list.
Yeah.
No, I got to find other stuff to torture you with. And I know you hate Murder by Death already. So
Hate's a strong word.
dislike strongly.
Yes. That's it for me.
Again, it was fun watching all those actors, but it definitely fizzled for me, and it definitely, it was a little torturous by time.
I have a question. What year was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
75.
Right? 75.
Because I guess I think of Louise Fletcher as being like always old. So it was not fun, but it was different to see her as the ingenue or whatever, just the young pretty one. 'Cause I never considered her pretty, and she actually was somewhat pretty in this.
If you go back and watch Cuckoo's Nest, you'll see she's not old, but she's just playing someone who's so severe and so tightly wound that she just seems like an older person.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially her hair was tightly wound.
Yeah, pulled back. Yeah. But 4 stars for Anne Margaret's scene too. That was she looked terrific.
Yeah.
Are you done?
I'm done.
All right, Joel, go ahead. 3.5 stars. What do you want?
Solid 3 stars.
All right.
Just because I pick a movie doesn't mean I think it's a 4-star excellent movie. I've stated that before. I enjoy this movie. For me, it's comfort food. It's funny, it's silly, it's goofy. Having seen both The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca a bazillion times each, and there's some other Bogart films that kind of lend a little bit here and there along the way. I think for the most part, Neil Simon, you have to see it more than once to see where the plot's actually going and follow it through. It does make sense, but it does fizzle out at the end. The whole meeting at the ferry, just kind of, at that point, I'm kind of like, all right, let's get to Phil Silvers for no real reason because he's not really funny in this movie. But and that to me is like the biggest sin. It's a waste of, hey, it's Phil Silvers. All right, whatever. But as everybody said, it's got an amazing cast. I don't think anybody is going overboard with their portrayals. I think they're really sticking to what they're supposed to be doing. I think if you play funny, over the top funny, it doesn't always work. And I think here they're playing those characters as seriously as they possibly can. And it works beautifully. I love the play on the character names, with Peter Lorre playing Joel Cairo, and now you've got Dom DeLuise as Pepe Damascus, or all the names that Madeline Kahn's character keeps spitting
That's
out.
ridiculous.
That was a great gag too.
They just get more and more ridiculous as the film goes on. And I think one of the things I love, and for whatever reason, it left an indelible mark on me, is how committed Paul Williams is at the end of the film to slapping himself.
Oh yeah,
And I
knocks
was
himself
gonna
on the
say,
ground.
Yeah.
I forgot to say how much I hated that scene. I was like, oh my God, stop already. I hated that bit. I was like, he's doing it again, but he did a great job with it.
Yeah, he does a great job of it,
Yeah.
but it's painful to watch because he's doing such a good job of it. But as I said, it's a 3-star film for me. It's comfort food, just like Murder by Death is for me, and Clue is for me. They're not perfect films by any stretch of the imagination, but they are fun. They are funny. I revisit them once every couple of years just for shits and giggles. So
I was going to ask you how, having just seen it for the first time, it doesn't diminish it that much if you watch it a second time. Like I know, like Airplane's a movie I can watch over and over again as many times as I've heard the jokes.
I think it depends on who you are and what your sense of humor is. For me, no, I'm constantly laughing at the same things. Not there, over time, there's a couple of jokes. It's like, that's not as funny as I thought it was. Then for me, it's like the one gin sling joke
Mhm.
is not as funny as it was the first time.
Got it.
But
Sure.
Yeah, because it's coming.
but like the opening crawl, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that was there. That's funny, or every time, Lou Peckinpah's in his apartment and he's on the phone and he opens the drawer and he pulls out the full shot.
Ready-made
Pulls
drink.
out the pre-made orange juice. It's like, you want a martini? Olive or onion? And he changes which drawer he was going for based on her answer. It's like, it's silly, but it's funny. It makes me laugh every time. So
And here, Joel, you're wearing your Clue.
I am
t-shirt.
wearing. Yeah, that was actually a fluke. It's my a Clue shirt.
Plum and white and mustard and what?
Green and scarlet and peacock. It's either my Clue shirt or my Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat shirt. I'm not sure which. So
Yeah, you could sing it to that, right?
yeah, of course. And purple and white and mustard and
Pink and
All right,
orange.
so if they convinced you to watch The Chief Detective, you can watch it on Prime if you subscribe to that service. Next Monday, we'll be watching one of my selections, ha ha ha, the film that beat Saving Private Ryan for the Best Picture Oscar in 1998, Shakespeare in Love, which is available on Showtime if you subscribe to that service. Any last minute comments there? I'm gonna change to 2.5 stars. Fine, whatever. I'm never watching it again.
No.
I'm never
No.
watching it again.
Swayed
That's silly.
by others, Frank.
Frank,
Swayed
hang on
by
a second.
others.
Hang on a second. You felt it was a 2-star movie. You should stick with that. That's fine. Things that tick me off is I can't remember what movie it was. There was an episode of Siskel and Ebert's review show, and I forget which one. I don't remember the movie. Ebert gave it like 3.5 stars, and Siskel was like, or thumbs down, thumbs up, and Siskel was like thumbs down, and they started arguing about it. And by the end of it, Ebert was like, "No, you're right." And Shane, and I was like,
I mean, I could see. Maybe I was in a bad. Maybe I had a headache. Maybe I was in a bad mood. But this was the other thing for me, was that I had just watched it, and I mean, maybe 6 months ago, if not a little longer, and there was a little resentment there having to watch it again. But
Wait,
But
why
when-
did you watch it? Why did you watch it the
You
first
didn't
time?
have to.
Because, no, I did, because I was watching movies that did not get great reviews, but were on people's 100 best list. Joel had this on his 100 best list. So I was watching bad movies we love. Were you not listening at the beginning?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
So
didn't
that's
get
why I
that.
You
watched
just
it.
watch it. Yeah.
And actually last year I gave it 2.5 stars. But
But
having to
Joel,
watch it again,
Joe,
Okay.
wouldn't you agree, though, that even though
diminished.
Frank might have come in saying it's 2, sometimes you hear reminders of
course.
something that you didn't,
I
take
just don't
into
want him like peer pressure to,
account. I was gonna say, yes, swayed by others, yes.
I'm
I
not
wouldn't worry about
I'm
that
not
with
easily
Frank too much.
swayed, yeah. Yeah, so last year when I reviewed it last year, I gave it 2.5 stars. So all right, fine.
But you definitely had a headache this time.
It was
You had a
homework.
disease.
It was homework having to watch it again.
yeah, that's next
All
week.
right. I Shakespeare in Love, I only saw in 1998. I've never seen since then.
Me too.
So we'll see. I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
And also with you.